Hello friends. Today I want to talk about influencers, the people in your life that influence you. A number of videos ago I talked about our spiritual gifts and talents and telepathy and the mind games. In other words, who's talking to you in your head? What voices in your head are you listening to? So a complement to that video is who are the physical people in your life, the influencers of your life that you are listening to. In our day and age, we are overwhelmed, I will say, with information. In fact, this is what our whole age is about. We've been in it for a while now, the information age. You can literally get information anytime, anywhere, and not only a piece of information, but 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 or 12 different opinions on that one piece of information. And so this goes to the heart of disciple level, of my 7 levels of spiritual evolution on the planet. Disciples can get completely engulfed in information and never get out of disciple level into initiate level, where they have enough foundation, enough inner knowing foundation, that they can constructively test the information they receive. So here are some points I want to tell you about influencers, correct influencers. So when you go out and you start to be influenced, take these ideas and work with them. First, I'm going back in history a little bit. Let's say the days of the Renaissance with Da Vinci and Michelangelo and many of the great artists, and you became an apprentice for Da Vinci, let's say. And he had you start out working on hands, drawing hands, and you wanted to be a painter. And you might draw hands for years. And the master would come to you and look at your hand that you spent hours and days working on with the right shadowing and the right angle and correct you. Now, many times we're using the word criticize because we have left the understanding of the apprentice and the master, which everyone needs. And now the disciple mind, the New Age disciple mind, considers anything that someone says against their own ego's identity is a criticism not to be listened to. Yet, if you want to achieve mastery in your painting, you had to listen to constructive correction, let's use that word, over and over and over again until you finally got it right. And it could be frustrating. It can be very frustrating. And India had a guru system where students or chellas would go into the ashram and make a pledge to follow the guru's advice. And the guru may have you scrubbing floors and taking out the trash and scrubbing floors and taking out the trash, and you feel like you're never gaining any wisdom or guru skills or mastery because he just has you scrubbing the floors and taking out the trash. But then again, in those periods of time, you stayed with that master, you stuck it out, you worked through your resistance to the correction and kept working through your resistance to the correction, because part of entering into initiate level is that you have built a foundation, a solid rock of belief systems that comes from correction. It doesn't come from all those people out there teaching you workshops on how to love yourself. No, it doesn't come from that. It doesn't come from people sitting on a cloud saying, I'm very holy and perfect because all I say are things about love and light. And you're beautiful just the way you are. You don't have to change anything. You're just wonderful just the way you are. And that feels so good to us. They must be right. They must be right. They tell me I'm good just the way I am. And so we never grow because we're good just the way we are. And so people say, but isn't that true? And I say, it depends on if you want to stay right where you are in the life that you have, in the belief systems that you have. You can say to yourself, I'm good just the way I am. But if you have any desire to grow, to achieve more, to accomplish more, to become more, to tap into your higher consciousness, to your higher bodies of light, to actually leave the astral world when you pass over and die, and go into higher bodies and higher civilizations of light, you're going to have to allow correction. So this is where I say, look at the people that are influencing you. And I can say that there might be a lot of people that criticize you from one reason or another, parents, relatives, friends, husbands, wives, and we may take offense to those criticisms, and some of them are valid and some of them are not. That's not the issue. The issue is understanding how to take criticism or correction correctly. And when you are a disciple, the minute your ego is challenged, the minute a truth is presented to you, there's some shadow you're not dealing with. There's some part of yourself you're hiding from. There's some belief system you've adopted that's blocking you. And someone comes into your life and busts that thing wide open. And our normal disciple level reaction is to run, is to criticize them, is to delete them off our Facebook page, is to say they're not spiritual because they criticized me. Well, perhaps it was a correction. And whether or not you consider it valid, anytime someone corrects you, you need to come from a place of initiate level where you reduce resistance to the correction and allow yourself to receive. And an initiate receives those criticisms, and an initiate has a foundation to be able to judge from a place of impartiality, from a place of neutrality. It's like you become a blank film. There's no judgments on that film. There's none of your past family lineage patterns on this film. There's no worldly belief systems on this film. You're a blank film. So when a piece of information hits that blank film, there isn't any preconceived judgment or resistance. There is an acceptance of this piece of information that goes into the film to be evaluated, processed, and learned from. And so I just want to say, pick your influencers carefully. Now, we're going to always be influenced by people in the world that may not have the best advice for us. But when you are trying to gain mastery, you want to pick a few influencers that can help you to the next level. And this isn't just for young people who are in their 20s and 30s and even their 40s. Even older, those of us who are older, we are always needing new influencers if we're going to grow. And you have to stick with them. This is the initiate part, because the disciple will run away. The disciple will read a book, move on, take a workshop, move on. Someone offends them, moves on. An initiate will pick a few influencers, stick with it, and stick with it, and stick with it until every single correction that influencer offers, or every single insight that influencer offers, you don't have any resistance to. You are accepting it, and you are acknowledging it, and you are working with it. And when you can do that with one or two influencers, and you've done it long enough that you have a very harmonious connection to that source of information, then maybe it's time for Spirit to bring you another influencer. And that same thing will start all over again. More correction. See, we're never done with correcting. And they will start saying, oh yes, you've done a lot of work, but you know what? There's still that little piece back there. And so now, because we've been in the habit of correction and improvement, we see those little pieces back there and we don't have any reaction to them. We're not resisting it. We're not judging it. We're going, okay, this is the next level now. And we actually welcome it. When you can get to the point, friends, that you welcome correction, you know you're on your way. Because initiates and masters are always correcting themselves. Mastery does not mean you're perfect. It means you know how to accept the next level of growth. And with that comes more correction, more growth, more change. That's the way life is, if we let it be. So that's my note for today. And I hope that you will take this information and work with it and go and find some good influencers and don't run away. Stick with it. Thank you.